Okay guys, thanks for coming. Welcome to Edinburgh Mobile Dev Meetup. I'm David, organiser, but not mobile developer for some reason. Thanks again. So I'll give you a couple of announcements just before we start. In the event of a fire, you've got the emergency exit at the back corner there. Just take that down right across the road. In the event of bathroom emergencies, you've got the toilets at the back corner there. Drinks in the kitchen and pizza's already gone. If no one's none further from me, by the way, I'm just going to say. So we normally go around the room first and do kind of introductions, just say what company you're from, what you work with. So get started off. Like I said, I'm David. I work mostly with PHP, a lot with Go, and I used to do Android, but changed my mind. That's okay. Hey, Kosh.
Hi, I'm Akosh from Skyscanner. I'm from Budapest, as you can hear. I'm not from Scotland at all. So really apology for my English and my accent. It's terrible. I'm still practicing. I'm a software developer myself. Now I'm leading apps technology in Skyscanner.
My name is Antti Kajanus, and as you can hear, I'm not Scottish either, so my English is probably even worse than yours. I work for a company called Esri, and we do mapping stuff, geo information-based platform and technology, and I'm the second talker today.
Hey guys, I'm Johnny, and I work here in Frame on the Android team.
I'm Pete. I am Scottish.
I was going to use that one. Damn you!
I'm an iOS developer in Malsey.
I'm Jules. I work for Bitwing on the Tesco Bank iPhone app.
My name's David, and I work on iOS and Android here at Edinburgh.
I'm Chris, and I kind of oversee iOS and Android at Edinburgh.
George.
Hey, I'm George. I'm an Android developer here at N4M.
I'm Alex. I'm an Android developer at Xdesign. Currently working with the Viper architecture on Android, just for the fun of it.
Hi, my name is Vaishak. I'm an Android developer for a company called SQL.
I'm David, or Vaishak at the moment, because I'll be looking for a job in 2 weeks. Mostly server side, but I do the whole stuff.
Hey guys, if you're looking for jobs or if you're hiring for jobs again, feel free to shout that out as well when you're doing the introduction.
I'm Colin, I'm teaching myself Swift and iOS.
David, I also work for Esri, but I moved from .NET to the dark side. I'm in iOS now.
Paul Silva, I'm working in N4M as an English developer, so I'm the backend.
I'm Valentin. I'm a student in computer science, University of Munich.
I'm Guy. I'm studying at Fulham.
I'm Craig. I'm also studying Kotlin, learned Ruby a while ago, JavaScript, and then moved on to Java. Java's scary.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark. I'm one of the instructors at CodeClan. So I've been a developer for a number of years, working Java and starting to work on Android. And these guys are on a course and basically teaching for 16 weeks a whole range of development technologies. And then at the end of it, they're going to be looking for jobs as well. So I think it's looking now.
Hi, I'm Christina. I'm originally from Romania. I think to what's going on here. I'm an interpreter, but I'm interested
My name is Raymond. I'm writing about the stuff like big data, like platforms, applications, of energy systems, to help like cancer, hardware.
I'm a cynical pencil.
I'm Tom. I'm a web and mobile developer. I'm working for a new startup that's based out in Berlin, but we work remotely, and I'm looking for JavaScript developers, mobile developers.
Hi, my name is Kesh, and I'm a solution architect. I design system. Started with the application.
Hey, my name is Alan. I'm an Android developer for a company called Intelligent Point of Sale, and we're hiring for iOS. So they have 50 people to make these.
Hi, my name is João. I'm from Portugal, and I started 2 weeks ago with
You go, you can go.
Ken, I'm an iOS developer here.
Hi, I'm Matteo. I work at Skyscanner, and my current challenge in Hashing is defect process management.
Hello, I'm Hugo. I used to work here as an iOS developer. I work at Skyscanner now, doing bits and pieces of Python and web and trying to get back iOS.
Okay, so I'll just get started with our first talk. Please give a round of applause for Josh.
So hi everyone, can you hear me okay in the back? Very cool, okay. So my title was Big Data 2.0, and then I figured that it's not about big data at all, so I changed the title a little bit. Hopefully it will be better now. So today I'm going to talk mostly about product. As I mentioned, I'm a software engineer myself, but today it's going to be very little code or zero code and just product and how data can be processed and used for mobile apps. If you think about new technologies or innovations and how that starts, usually everything that gets big or huge or important or viral, it usually starts with a technical innovation. If you think about Web 1.0, it was all about just the technologies of HTML. I can still remember I was doing the HTML, I think. Like it was fun and cool, but it was nothing. Like user experience was just crap, like with the drop-down menus and all these things. But it was fun. And when we reached the Web 2.0, it was more about user experience, top-down view, how you ensure that what you create is useful and enjoyable and people love it. So that was basically the mindset. And if you think about big data again, the very first ages or decades or years was more about technology. So when we talked about big data, it was like creating a Hadoop cluster and storing a lot of information. And what is the great technology to compute and what to process that information, but it wasn't about user experience at all. And I think we're just in the inflection point when we are going to talk about big data as user experience. So we're shifting towards the end user and how to make big data useful for the user. And probably this is a big problem nowadays that we call it big data, but it's a very misleading name because it's not about the data that we store at all or the amount of data that we have. It's the ability to process that information. So regardless how many data we have in the database or in the library or in a book or in a picture, it doesn't matter if you can't use it. So it's really not the name that suggests that's about the data. It's about the ability that you can process that information. And because of this, I like to introduce a new word instead of big data, and this is crystal ball. And if you think about the system is really complex. You need to configure it, and it has a boot up time, and you need to set up it, and all these things. And if you think about the crystal ball, it just works. It just works for you, and it understands you. So a very simple example, this is a system. This chart can be used to identify what's the population of different countries. As you can see, a lot of checkboxes and scroll bars, all these things. It's really painful and complex. If you think about the crystal ball, Google, if you enter population of Hungary, it answers you that it's 9.8 million. It also answers you that how is that compared to Czech Republic and Austria. And if you see, you can also see how it has changed and decreasing continuously. So you don't need to think about it, you just need to have the question, and that crystal ball will answer what you expected. So the system, you need to understand the system, while in the crystal ball understands you. And why is this really important for mobile? Because mobile is just about you. Even the desktop, in the Google, if you enter Bayern München, I'm kind of a big fan of Bayern München, sorry for that. So if you enter Bayern München, you get this. This is probably very expected. If you enter immediately on desktop Mario, you get this. It's probably not a surprise. If you repeat this exercise on the mobile phone, you get this. However, if you enter it Mario, you get Mario Götze, who is the player of Bayern München. Unfortunately, Google doesn't work that way, but essentially it should. But going further, if you are a big Italian football fan, and if you enter Mario, probably you are interested in Mario Balotelli instead of Mario the game, or the Mario Götze, the German player. Or if you are in a stadium of Besiktas, listening or watching a match already, then entering Mario would probably result in Mario Gomez. So it's basically, it's all about the context, and if you have a mobile phone, that isn't anymore just the information that you enter in the search box. It's a lot more than. So you can have information about the environment, you can have information about the person, and you can use that information, historical data, to provide personalized user experience. Yeah, so it is just because it's all about you. And how does it work in travel? So that's a question. So I work for Skyscanner, so obviously we want to build crystal balls for travelers and for users. So just a short heads up, we have a lot of data, but we don't have a lot of crystal balls at all. So we have a lot of big data, and we have approximately 50 million, or it's already I think 60 million users every month. We have more than 40 million app downloads, and we archive 1.5 billion quotes every day, which is 250 gigabytes of data. And we have real-time data processing for all the events that we have in the mobile apps and in the website, and that is like 25K messages per second. So it's a lot of information that we store, and most of the time we just ignore it. And going a little bit deeper in mobile apps. So this is our website. Probably it's a little bit outdated, but it was like this a few weeks ago. And we have a very interesting checkbox which is called Add Nearby Airports. So this functionality is because we have a lot of airports, for example, London, and as well as if you live in Edinburgh, you would consider Glasgow as well as a departure city. And usually what you do is like you enter Edinburgh, New York, and you start Glasgow, New York, and you also consider London, New York. Hopefully there is a cheaper or better flight. And this checkbox was probably developed 2 years ago. And behind this, there's a static database in SQL which says like, these are the airports that are close to each other, and if you enter Budapest, then you also include Vienna. And great, that works. However, on mobile app, we would never consider to add such a tag box. We could easily, because the functionality available in the API, so essentially it should be just a matter of checkbox putting on the screen. But what we would expect in mobile is that you don't need to think. So if you enter Budapest, Sydney, which is a very far destination, you would enter, or you would consider Vienna as well as a departure city. And if there is a better option than the one that is shown here with 2 stops and yeah, a lot, very pricey, then it will show that you might consider Vienna as an alternative. But traveling from Budapest to London, where we have 20 different direct flights every day, you would never include Vienna results, even though it's cheaper, because you would never consider doing that. So my point is, even though on the web you might expect something different, on mobile apps you should consider delivering personalized user experience. And another exercise we did very recently, a couple of months ago. So this is a list of searches that users have made on one particular day. So this is the October 19th in 2015. So all the searches are ranked by popularity. These dates show what is the departure date and the return date. And the orange ones are long weekends in the next 3 weeks. So as you can see, the majority of the result was meant for a long weekend, while the green ones are Christmas holidays, so December or January early. So basically, 75% all searches on a single day was just for long weekends for the next 3 weeks or Christmas. So that was all over. We picked the very first one, the October the 13th and November the 1st. This is, I think, yeah, Friday, Sunday combination. So it's like 40K count on a single day. And we looked into what have been the most popular departure dates and destinations. And the very top on the list was LGA and FLL, which is New York, LaGuardia, and Florida. So that means that people wanted to go to celebrate Halloween near to a beach. And as you can see, it's the increase to week by week was like 2,000%. So that means it's just because of Halloween. So there has been a lot of people willing to go from New York down to Florida just for a long weekend. And we went even further and we checked when were these bookings made. And it turned out that most of the bookings has been made on a single day. So this is the distribution. And you don't see any of the bookings after the period, after the week and before the period. It's just on that single day. And the question is, what could have been done if we knew this information up front? We could have displayed advertisement, we could have sent push notification, we could have sent emails, we could have preset all the fields for the user on the home screen when they first enter the application, so make it much easier and comfortable for the user to access information. Probably there have been a lot of other people who haven't even heard of the cheapest options that we offered at that day. We maybe could have even pre-booked the whole airplane and then fill with Skyscanner users if that was profitable. So the opportunity is huge because we started to work on just the data analysis on a very small subset of information. And the question is, what could have been done if we could do this for, I mean, not just for Florida, but basically for any kind of destination. And what would be the best time? Maybe it wasn't the best deal on that particular day, but the day after, it could have been much better for the user to book the flight. And as well as some users prefer football, for example. And then it's not just Florida that can be an alternative, but there's a good match in California that they could visit alternatively. So it's a lot of things that we could provide to the user instead of just expecting them to enter the information like in a system. And yes, if it's just not just Florida, then the possibilities are just unlimited. So going forward from this, basically analyzing data will help us to create better products, because we realize that probably we should have a filter for probably Halloween searches, and we should probably show it on the main screen. But if we do so, we can only just focus on this part, because we picked Florida because this was a top search and top destination at that time. We would probably never consider Budapest or Edinburgh because it's too small and in the data set. And if you think about the long tail, probably this will never be solved if you just think about like data analyzing and creating better product based on that information. But if we can build crystal balls which understands you, and not just for one user, but all the users that we have, then probably we can make a lot of users much more happier. And yeah, this is probably the closing notes here. So we essentially, all people, mobile developers, and as well as probably the desktop guys as well, we should all considering building crystal balls. And instead of just providing some kind of user experience, provide personalized content. And I do think everyone has a lot of data that we can use. In Skyscanner we have a lot, and I'm sure in all the companies they have a lot of information. It's just we don't know how to transform that to user experience. And if we do that, then probably a lot of users will be happy and they will use our products continuously. Thank you. Not sure how it is usually. Do we have a Q&A?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Do that. So if anyone's got any questions for Akash, go ahead.
Yep.
Do you have some plan of like further applications? Yes, just I understand just how your plan works. Further, where do you want to apply this crystal balls further?
There are a lot of low-hanging fruit, so we are just scratching the surface for personalization. The nearby airports filter is one of the probably next experiment that we will probably launch. So instead of using a static database, we would consider a real user experience, because we can see how user acts. So like if they search from Budapest to Vienna, they immediately search from Vienna to Sydney, and then we can use that information immediately. We don't need to enter this information. So people usually think that personalization and crystal balls are very complex, but sometimes it's just a simple code, and we just need to ship. And the earlier we start, probably the sooner we understand how to go further. So we don't know what is going to be the destination and how to solve the whole problem set for all the users and for all the destination and with all the information. But we believe that if we get started, then we will learn the necessary amount of knowledge that we can use to further develop our product. Yep.
So are you actually looking at
person or creating a profile for each individual user to understand what their search is like, right?
Yes.
But I see a lot of problems there because you need to process a lot of data and create a lot of profiles. Isn't that correct? Can you give us some examples about the complexity of going through that much data and because I assume the computation process would be.
I don't know about the computer. I'm not a data engineer at all, so I'm pushing my guys to somehow create some kind of solution that would work. Yes, essentially we will be profiles for all the users. There are two ways doing it. One is essentially creating a big attribution set. So whenever we learn something new from the user because they made a search from New York twice, then we can assume that he lives in New York. Or in this example, if we check like they have made a similar search or booking twice, same search or same booking last year, we can assume that the user has a holiday house in Florida because he goes there every weekend, and then we shouldn't offer him a hotel room because they probably has a accommodation or these kind of things. But if a lot of other options as well. So we can process information immediately when we get it, and then we can just assign that based on the assumptions we have, this user lives in New York. And then we can even ask the user, like with a small widget in the app, as part of the onboarding flow, for example, like we believe that you live in New York. Do you agree or you disagree? And a couple of other options as well. The other way is that we have a lot of tons of information, and then you put this amount of information into a big job, which will tell you 100 different answers, and that will tell you how to transform UI to provide a better user experience. We are not yet settled which way we are going to go, so probably we'll start with this nearby airport, where it's fairly easy to get, because if you make a search, then you can easily have a pre-computed data set which tells you what have been the alternate destination for the route. If there is below the threshold, so for example, Budapest to London, nobody has searched from Vienna or Bratislava or London, then probably we'll ignore. And creating such a set, it's like computation time 2 seconds on this computer.
Sorry, I have a follow-up question. You planning to extend the whole service to create this sort of accounts? Because my understanding is this point is that you can search on Skyscanner without having a profile.
Yes. So
registered account.
So having a login name, it's doesn't equal that you have a profile, or it doesn't necessarily. So even though you're not logged in, we can have a profile about you. It's not, so it's anonymous, so you don't know your name, you don't know your address, you don't know your email address, but we know that you are a guy who probably lives in London and travels 6 times a year and has some kind of business interest in South Asia.
Based on the IP address?
Sorry?
Based on the IP address?
So in the mobile app it's easier because there is an identity that we can maintain, and we always know that this is the same user. On the website we can use cookies, but they disappear. So there's a big difference between mobile and desktop. On mobile we always know that it's the same user, even though it's not logged in. We can know that. We can put a simple ID in iCloud or data or Google somewhere, and it's going to be synchronized. And then we can just know. Basically the email address is just an additional information. It can be a mobile phone number or anything. It helps us to reach you, but it isn't required to build up a profile. It's scary, by the way.
So if you've got a profile for a user who's signed up on their mobile phone, say, do you have some way of planning out what happens when they then change to their iPad or desktop? Do you kind of share the profile across multiple devices like that?
Yes, so this is probably our biggest problem now, that people usually start searching on Skyscanner on mobile phone, and at the end they book on the website. So if you think about revenue, that majority of the revenue comes from the website. And this isn't because they don't use mobile, it's so freaking painful to book a flight using a mobile website. So it's just that simple. And unless we can convince users to log in, we will be unable to track users' behavior across devices. So for this, login is very, very important. But on the mobile itself, we can establish a really good information set for each of the users. In Korea, for example, a majority of the users don't even have a computer, and mobile app usage has now is already dominating all the different markets, so like Android and iOS as well. So they don't use desktop at all. So we don't have that problem.
Any more questions? Okay, thanks again. Just have a quick 5-minute break there, guys, before we go on to the next talk. So if you'll get stretch your legs and come through.
Previous talker is talking about the same discussions that we are
So you talking about this?
It's just funny how like the
I'm away from the camera. Oh, I'm gonna ignore the camera. I'm just not looking.
Everything that you guys do.
Yeah.
But,
Why not just simply give the user the option to input more than one name?
Because it's complex. So we removed takes combo box from the home screen and we put it on a secondary screen. And we user can immediately trigger a search and then modify it. And we increase or decrease the bounce rate by 30% immediately. Because whenever you have a very complex huge screen on the home screen, it's like, oh my god, I don't And then you can make a search like I like somewhere where it's good at all, which is great.
There's no such
Tons of reasons why don't you do it.
So I was actually just halfway through the boot under the so I was actually unfortunately I have to use laptop. No, the Wi-Fi is there.
Thank you very much. It was a great because talk.
Sorry, are you walking towards the exit? Who's going to?
Okay, guys, we're just going on now to our second talk. Anti talk about using patterns and location mapping in your apps. Guys, we're just about to start with our second talk if you're all ready. Anti, go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, you might try to sneak a little bit closer. My slides might be hard to see from the back. Sorry about that. It's a design flaw in my slides, but you see why. There's lots of new faces for me today, which is nice. My name is Antti Kajanus and I work for Esri. We do geographical information systems technology and we do offerings from cloud technology, server-based technology, as well the client APIs. And I have a couple of colleagues here with me, Mary and Pax and David somewhere here. They are working on the Mac and iOS. I work mainly on the Microsoft stack. Unfortunately, you are not going to see a single line of code today. So the idea is to go through some patterns and practices and different kind of ways how you can add location or a map in your existing applications or when you are building a new ones. Just the kind of ideas how you can use the map or the location from that point of view. But as always, the innovation starts from the new things or the basic understanding of the things that you are using. But that's not something that we are going to learn today. That's boring. So we are looking examples instead. But before we go into that or checking the applications, just a couple of terminology things before going there. And these are the things that you probably hear me using. Where geocoding is probably a familiar term to most of you. So it basically means converting an address to a location, or another way around. Or, for example, you can use a place name like Ben Nevis. It's a location, even though it's not an address, but it still has a location where it is. With direction and routing, another thing that every one of you has been using and probably use on a daily basis. But also when we are talking about directions and routing, it's not just a simple turn-by-turn navigation. It means much more than that. It might mean multi-point navigational. It might be optimal routes between the points or between the multiple points, or it might be fastest route. It might be that is only available for fire trucks, for example. So it's much wider concept than just simple routing from here to there. And also in the routing side, drive time calculations is a good example. For example, if I have an electric car and I have 200 miles left, where I can drive if I'm here. Based on the network data sets that we have, we can estimate that, okay, that's the electric stop that you can actually get into. So that's probably the way to go. Geo-enrichment, it's a term that we use when you are adding or enriching your own information based on the another data sets that are combined using a location. Example could be we have an application that you can use to buy stuff from online. So it means that we have a user information, we know where he probably lives. But on the other hand, we have other data sets that are generalized demographic information, for example, on a district level, that typically this and this age group is using this many pounds to buy this kind of products. They have income is this kind of things. Typically they have kids and so forth. And when we take the location or the address from your data set, make that into location and then compare to the location that we get from another data set, and we see that actually these are together. We can mash this information together and then derive something else from that. And the spatial analysis, if we take that the previous example a little bit further, we could easily analyze different kind of patterns that we get from combining these two data sets to predict who is most likely buying these products in the next 5 months, for example. And then we can take those users and make a special sales, for example, or some kind of marketing campaign. Some basic questions that you should be asking if you are working with your own applications that are already out there. Can I improve your user experience with a map or a location somehow? We come to the different ways how you can do that, or what kind of situations you might want to do that a little bit later. Second thing is that do we already have the location information in your application? Is it the first class information or is the second class information? If it's the first class information, it means that you have already the X and Y information there. Or you might have something really easy to convert, like the address, for example. These are first class citizen. The second class citizen basically means that can I derive the location on somehow? Country is a location. It's not very accurate one, but it's a location. And then again we come to the second question, or the third one, which is can I enrich your data somehow with the concept that I was just describing with mashupping the information. And if you can find these things, then it probably means that there is something that you can do in your applications to make it better. With the new apps, is the location somehow in the central part of your application? And if it is, or if it isn't, can you make it so? Even if you are not using the location right at the moment for many different purposes, it's still really relevant to get the information there because you can use that later on. And especially when we start to talk about big data situation where we have millions of rows and then we suddenly have the locations where they are. That gives us a very interesting way of doing the analysis behind the scenes, how to focus again your data and how to understand your data further on. And also one interesting thing is that can we go a little bit beyond what the user is expecting it. And this is the part where the things like location alerts comes handy. These are, as a developers, you are familiar with design patterns. Basically, it's a solution for a common problem. Simple as that. It's a general solution that usually works, but most likely you have to adapt it into your own situation so that it works perfectly in that case. And the next, I'm going to show you 5 different design patterns of using maps in the apps. This is quite easy to understand type of application, where the map is the focus in your own application. That's the main component that you are interacting with. That's the map. And the user gets value out from doing that. Typically, these applications are data collection applications. They might be maps apps on your iPhones or Android devices where you route yourself from location to another. These are typically very map-centric applications. And it also means that the tooling is built on to do lots of different kind of things in that context. And when we are talking about mobile applications, it also means that the tooling that you are selecting is very important part of the application design, because you don't have that much real estate to use when you have large map in the screen. So you have to be very careful when what are the main use cases that our users are actually doing inside of this map application. And here is a application called Collector for ArcGIS. It's one of the applications that we have built to work to collect information from the field. And in this case, the map is, we provide multiple maps in the organization or in your organization that you are working with. And by selecting it, can you see the dots on the back? Okay, probably not. So I select one of these maps. It navigates to the second page, which shows the map with all the information that we are expecting to see. And in this case, we are seeing a sewer network in Edinburgh. And from here, I start interacting with the map. I click on the map. I get a list of different features that I can add. And in this case, I'm saying that in this location, there is cosmetic issues with the sewers. And it moves forward to ask, okay, more information about that location. And when we are working with a map-centric application, very typical thing is that the accuracy that they want with your data is quite accurate. In many cases, phones, the accuracy goes up and down. And sometimes you need to really think that the ways how you can make it sure that it's accurate enough for your use cases. And in this case, it's just the tools that we built, this kind of application is purely focused on one single purpose. How I find the information that I need. In this case, I have selected a couple areas that these might be interesting places where I would want to live, and then the application goes and fetches the information based on those selections. Here's the second example. This is a tour map in Houston where we can select different type of information that we want to see. In this case, I want to see restaurants, and I get a list of possible places to go. This it gives me some order for them, but it doesn't give me a way to actually see where they are, or if I'm here, it doesn't give me a good, easy way to see what are close by. If I'm really hungry now, where I should go. This kind of list is very hard to see. But if you select a map from the top, you can actually see the places on the map, and you can bring your own location in, and you can directly see that, okay, that's there and that's there. Okay, what's this one? And okay, that looks good, and there we go. So we use the map as a primary focus is just to find out more information of the rest of the data. Maps for context. This is also a very, very typical situation that we see. Also in these cases, sometimes this overlaps with the maps as a navigational pattern, but you see a couple examples of that. Here's one example, Airbnb. I have already done a query in an application to find out places on Vancouver. And it starts from the situation that I'm not working with the map at all. I'm doing the query some other fashion. In this case, I was just typing the Vancouver in the search box and bam, there I have a list of stuff. But here on the top right side, you can see a button to navigate to the map. And now I see the location that I already searched in the context of map. So it kind of goes another way around with the map as a navigational pattern. So now we already have the information that we want to work with, and then we put that to map to make a new assumption from that data. This is also an application that you are probably familiar with, Foursquare. It does the similar kind of thing. Here in the middle, you can see that this Portland Museum of Art, it has the location information here. It has the address information. But also what you might see here is that it has also a map. It might be hard to see on the back, but it's just showing the rough location where it is. And it's a static map. It's an image that shows that this is the near area. But if I click it, I go to the more detailed view. And here you can see a very good example of reference map. You see a small part of the application that is showing the map where it is, and then you see the rest of the information related on it. But again, if I click on the map, I move from static picture to interactive map to specifically see where that specific asset is, or in this case, hotel is. I think that these three ways are very, very common things that we see in the applications. Skyscanner is a good example of using these patterns. All the main applications in your mobile phones for navigating, that's the map-centric application. Also, when you are doing the real estate, for example, it's very, very common use case, or the pattern to use. This is a little bit rarer at the moment. And with location alert, we mean typically something that we use proximity to trigger some action. We use term geofencing for this. I try to explain the top part. It might be hard to read. So basically we have some invisible area in physical space. For example, 100-meter radius around one specific point. And when the device or a car or something else goes there or leaves from there, something happens. For example, you could send a customer on some kind of offer when they are close by on your stores based on their phone's location. You have a buffer around your that space, and you know that what kind of stuff they usually buy. You can say send a focused offer to buy something from that specific shop. Or you can build a system in around your house that you calculate 5 minutes driving distance using a network dataset from your house, and when you come into that one, automatically coffee machine goes on. So you use that 5 minutes buffer or 5 minutes region to do something else. Here's one example. Windows Phone in this case, I'm using Cortana to make me a reminder. I was just saying to Cortana that remind me when I'm next time near Starbucks to go in and load my card. Okay. I say that, do that. Cortana asks, is this something that you want to do? Yeah, I say that, yeah, that was exactly what I want to do. But one thing to see here, when I was saying that, remind me when I'm near Starbucks, it understands already that it's any of the Starbucks. So it's not just one specific one, but it also understands that it can be any. And it adds me a reminder, and I start walking home from work, and suddenly my phone says that, by the way, you are now near Starbucks. Get in and get a cup of coffee and load your card. So behind the scenes, without using any map or mapping itself, we have used the location-based system to remind us to do something when we are somewhere. And this gives us really interesting scenarios that we can implement. And the term that we are using for this is geofencing. And almost all platforms these days have built-in APIs for doing this kind of stuff. Then there are external providers that provide even more accurate ways of doing this. And one of the things that you have to think when you are using these things is not overdo it. Getting too much notification is not a very good thing. It's about finding the right notification at the right time, at the right place. And accuracy is one of the big things here. Some cases it's okay that it's 100 miles accuracy. For example, in my case, it could be that I'm landing in Helsinki tomorrow. As soon as I'm landing to Finland, my phone could alarm my friends that, okay, I'm landed and estimate time is this one. The more accurate you go with the GPS location, it means that more battery drainage you are going to get. And your customers are not going to be happy if you are just draining their battery all the time just for trying to sell them something new. So it's something that you have to be really careful with. Location as a search. Here's the field notes Earth application, which and then comparing those information to different locations. I said the Ben Nevis in this one, or you can just drop the pin somewhere on the map. So you have different ways of finding out or providing the area that you are interested in. But that information is used as part of the search and the main indicator on the region that you are trying to find the information. In this case, I'm just selecting some other information that these are the things that I'm interested in, and then the application goes forward and shows the information to you. But the main indication here is that I'm providing the location from somehow to the search, and this is the region that I'm interested in. Give me the results. This is also an application that you probably have used. This time it's just Android Yelp. And it actually has a couple very interesting things inside of it. Of course, it uses a current location as a default location that is using for the search. But also it's using another information, and also it's enriching the results with the location information. So in this case, it also shows how far the hotel or the restaurant is from your current location. And also, it shows the direction. The small arrow here is actually a direct direction to that place, which is really neat. But it's just a way that when you are doing the searches, you can also enrich the search results with location information. And of course, you can combine these approaches that we have had. You can use location as a search pattern with location as a navigational pattern. You use the location first to get the info or the area that you are interested, and the initial set of places where you would like to go, and then you use the map to discover more. So that said, that these are not like you have to do one or the other, but these are all mashed upable. Mashable. Thank you. Patterns. And of course, not a single presentation that I keep goes without showing this application. Untapped, one of my favorites, of course. But it uses location, but it doesn't have map anywhere inside. You can use the map. You can use the location to find out your nearby friends or the peers nearby, which is the proper way of doing it. And it just shows the different patterns to use the search behind the scenes. And this is kind of the same information that we heard in the previous discussion. Using the location to enhance the experience in your device, even though that you are not using location or the GIS in your own application. Getting the location, of course, you can use the phones or devices location. You can geocode the location or place, or you can ask or have some kind of interface to drop the pin on the map. Okay, this is the region I'm interested in. And also that you can enhance the results that you are getting with this information, so that they can get something more out from the results that they normally get. Putting it together, here is actually Skyscanner's application. It's the hotel application that has put many of these previous things together in one single application, which from my point of view shows very well how to integrate these things. Here on the main thing, you can select the destination. You can either write a location, or you can just select my current location. I used my current location. I get the information, the results from that. Now we are seeing all the list in the results in the list view. But also you have option to say change here to see all the results in the map view. So now we are in the navigational pattern view. I can click one, I can get more information from it. It's kind of taking the approach that we have with the map-centric applications. You interact with the map to get more information from the features. And of course, you can filter the information even further. When I select a new one, new hotel, I get the default information like where it is, how much is the room, is there availability, what's the rating, all that kind of jazz. But also, when I scroll down, I can see the reference map here. This is showing that where it's about. And when I click it, it opens the larger map that is only showing that hotel and how to get there. And the tooling in this view is focused on the context side. So how to get there? Can I see the nearby attractions, for example? But the main thing is here that we have selected the information already that we want to see in a map, and then just go there and get more value out from that one. So those are the 5 basic ways of using location in your own applications. That's not rocket science. There's just the different approaches that you can take and use the location. One of the things that is now also raising in using the maps is the storytelling. This means that you are using the maps to show something in a format that people understand it. You can, for example, show a map where you have route from your holiday, then you have pictures from different places, and then you have descriptions for the pictures that, or the daily distances that you were walking every day. It's a story. You are showing a story to someone else, and they can easily understand where they are and what are the pictures related on those specific location and what was the story on that specific location. Here is one example of a story map. This is an overview report from, I have to check this out, Scottish Public Health Observatory on health and well-being profiles. As you can see, there is lots of text and different information on the left side. But also there is a map that visualizes the same information to easily understandable format. And this is, for example, one of the places where the big data comes in very easily. You have massive amounts of information, but how you get into the format that is easily understandable. Here's the second like a version of these things. Here we have a map from Wales that is showing a fuzzy overlay with planned wind farms and existing wind farms. And one of the interesting things with the story maps is that usually the people who we are showing these things, the main purpose is to communicate or trying to get our point through with them. So for example, I go to the stakeholder meeting and I have a report of our sales last year and these years. It's a very easy way to not just using a typical graph or showing that, okay, it goes like this, but also put the same information into the spatial context. And then do on comparison and showing overlapping information with that one. It might be a very interesting way of trying to get your thing through with the people that you want to understand what's the point in this thing that you want to show. In the end, I just want to put this one on here. This is just a screenshot from a location called developers.rgs.com, which is the main hub for our technology. and it also has lots of information on what kind of applications you can build, what kind of features you can do, what you can do with spatial information in the first place. So everything that I have been talking today, there is documentation related to these topics on that website, and I strongly recommend and having a short look. And if you have any questions related on using maps, not necessarily only our stuff, but just using maps in your own application, different approaches, and so forth, just let me know. And for that, you can see my Twitter account also down there. And thanks for listening.
Okay, any questions for Antti just now?
Firstly, Tom Marks with choice of T-shirt there.
Oh yeah.
Secondly, using a system, is there a kind of automatic feedback process in terms of improving the data? For instance, more people go to a certain restaurant or a certain hotel or use certain routes. Is there kind of a feedback process that helps improve the data that you're collecting and then providing to?
So I think that we have to start here from what is the data that you are using. If you are using the data from your own systems, it's up to you how you want to build it. If you are using third-party providers or cloud systems to host your data and using like the existing data that is provided by, or the APIs that are provided by, for example, our company, then it's basically up to us how we want to handle it. I don't know how much we collect information when they are using our APIs, so it's very hard to say that one. But usually you should be able to control, if you build your own systems, you should be able to control what you want to do on that side. For our case, we get a lot of data from third-party providers. We buy information from different companies like here and so forth. We get information from OpenStreetMap, which is an open source project in the first place. We also do data collection on our distributors in different companies. For example, we have lots of data from OS in UK, and so it kind of depends on the system that you are using.
Any more questions? Okay, thanks again, Antti. So just a couple of thank yous before we finish up the game. Thanks again to the guys for streaming it for us today. The video will be up on the Product Forge YouTube, and from now on we'll be doing it for follow meetups as well, so I'll put a link on side the meetup group so you can, if you're not going to show up next time, you can always just watch it from home. Of course you'll get a piece of beer that way. There you go, that's my incentive for coming along next time. And thanks again for all the new people we've seen before. Again, if you've got any feedback, just come to me, or if you want to give a talk yourselves next time. Next month is going to be the same kind of format as this. And in June we're going to try and do lightning talks again. We came again in January, so that'll be sort of 5-minute talks for more like 5 to 8 people. So if you've not done speaking before and you're going to come and try your hand at that, that's a good chance to do that. But that's all for today, and again, thanks for coming. Feel free to stay around, carry on the discussion, and hopefully see you next time.